Yeah, good morning, everybody. 6 days away. Fall's in the air. Basketball season is now here. We've concluded our secret scrimmages over the last 10 days, 12 days, so that's behind us. And I think we've learned some good, valuable information on our team. I thought we had a great week of practice a week ago. Played considerably better in the second go-around of those closed scrimmages than I thought we did the first. So I thought we took some steps in the right direction for sure. I like where we're at today. Still need to continue to work and develop that identity and find some rotations, which I don't think that I completely have yet. So we're going to keep working through that. Still need some separation, as we talked about, I think, last time we were in here in certain positions and players and roles for some definition with those roles. But yeah, 6 days away from the Towson game, so we're not putting our attention too much on Towson yet. We still got plenty to work on for the next few days. Big tracker treat tonight for us, so if anybody wants to come out to that, please join us out there outside the Coliseum at the track, and we'll keep moving forward, but we're in a good spot.
So you said you've learned good things, maybe some bad things. What have you learned? Give us a detail or two that you think, okay, better than I thought, and maybe something, we still better work on this.
Yeah, nothing, I guess, better than what I thought yet. That will probably take way more time than what we have now. I just thought we were still trying to find our identity, and I didn't really like the identity. I thought we'd lost some of our pressure and, just some of those things that have made us really, really good over the last year. And so it really was just getting back to who we are, what we are about, reminding them of how hard that is. And it's a long preseason in basketball, and I think maybe we got a little comfortable, and so we needed to get a little uncomfortable again and have that reminder. And so I think we were able to kind of reset a little bit, and once we reset, I thought we've been really, really good since then.
You mentioned bank account last time. You said, I think, 7. Has anybody been added to that, or is any withdrawals?
No withdrawals. No, we're not doing that right now. Hopefully we're just continuing to grow it. No, I mean, yeah, those bank accounts is what the question was. And, we've been together more, so bank accounts should be growing a little bit more right now. It's probably more than 7. I mean, we're probably up to 8 for sure, maybe 9 that I think are starting to separate a little bit. But, within that 8 or 9, what groupings go together, what groups of 2, 3, 4, 5, that's what I just still don't know, and that's going to take some time.
Who's been your most consistent player to this point, would you say?
Most consistent.
You chart everything,
Yeah, I mean, most of the returners probably, I've been mostly consistent, but that's probably also just my eyes because I've seen them do it. It's the new group that I'm trying to get a little more consistency with, and what are you going to be, who do you play with, how do we play you, what can we run for you, those types of things. So that's the piece. When I say separation, that's the same thing I'm talking about, is just what is it going to look like and what groupings, and we have those numbers. We just don't have them all yet, and we need some game numbers, so that takes usually at least probably 5 or 6 games before you get really any real data. So it's going to be a work in progress, and we understand that. And we have options this year. It's just what's so different than a year ago. There just wasn't as many options. It was pretty much set about this time of year for the most part, and we rolled with it and started that same lineup every game last year. So anyway, so it's still a work in progress, but it's going to take us 6 or 8 games probably before we really know.
Coach, in terms of trying to get to learn some of the new players through the offseason, where are you at with Sydney in that process? What have you learned about her during the offseason and preseason scrimmages?
Sydney Shaw, you're talking about, right? Well, we've learned quite a bit, but I mean, she really, just from the summer though, it's been more of the same. I mean, the kid has a great ability to score the basketball. She's consistently been our best shooter through the summer, through the fall, through the scrimmages. So she's really, really putting the ball in the hole, doing it in a variety of ways. She can pull up. Probably would challenge her to get to the rim a little bit more because she can get going from 3 and kind of settle at times. And then it's really kind of, I think she has an ability to be a really, really good defender. But we've got to hold her accountable on that end a little bit more, and she's got to hold herself a little bit more accountable. But no, she's going to play a huge role for this team, and she's been everything and more than what we needed or what we thought we were getting.
Her defense, was that maybe the biggest question coming in? How would she?
Well, I think there was an offensive efficiency. Just she wasn't the most efficient player at Auburn, and so it was just. But we knew she had the skill set to be. It was just showing her what shots to take and instilling confidence her to take those when she's open, and I think she's feeling that now that she has the freedom to take the right shots and she knows what those right shots are. For the most part, and then it's just really trying to get her to completely buy into what we're doing on the defensive end.
So many players come back exact same style as last year. I doubt that. But is this going to be a different look, different style for this year? Or?
There'll be some subtle differences. I mean, I think to the general person, if you just came and watched us play, no, I don't know that you would think this looks entirely different. There's some tweaks to the offense. We play a little bit different. We've liked those up to date. Again, we just have a few bigger bodies. We can go a little bit bigger if we need to, which could help with rebounding. We can still go a little smaller and play 4 guards if we want to. So we're going to have some options. And again, I think it could be different. The way we start may look different than what it looks like for the rest of the game, but we just have variety. And as a coach, that's kind of nice. But I think we're going to play different ways just based on personnel. And within the game, it may change.
Greg's question of can you guard the post a little differently than you did last year with the players you got?
Well, yeah, we can. We just have a little more size in there. We have more fouls, as I kind of joke about, and have seriousness. I mean, we can do some things that we couldn't do a year ago for sure. Are we still where we probably eventually need to be? No. We still need to continue to get a little bit better there. But no, between Donnell and Jordan Thomas and, even Atirza back, but CC, those are all bodies that we can legitimately put out there and throw at some of these bigger post kids that we'll face.
Going into Tuesday, are you guys, health-wise, pretty much good to go?
Yeah, I mean, nothing like season ending. We got a couple here and there, kids sitting out of practice here and there due to some bumps and bruises type stuff, but nothing that's, I don't think, long-term or even multiple weeks. So
Probably early yet, but what can you tell us about Townsend? I know they won 20 last year and got to the semifinals of their conference tournament. Mm-hmm. So what do you know about them?
Honestly, I don't know a ton. Yes, you're correct. Semifinal. I think they were picked 3rd in the CAA to open the year. So, a quality opponent, plays in a really, really solid mid-major league. I believe their leading returning scorer is back, who's a preseason all first team, kid. Outside of that, I haven't studied them a whole heck of a lot, so I've just done my basic preliminary research. Haven't got the analytics or any of those types of things on them. So I'm probably still a few days away for me. I kind of want to keep the emphasis on us, and then when we get to the weekend, at least for me, now my assistants have that scout, so they're already on it. But yeah, I don't need all that information yet.
Just generally speaking, what are you looking for on Tuesday? What's going to make you happy after that game?
Well, I think that we get back to who we were. Now, we're not going to look like what we did at the end of the year, and I think sometimes that's hard for fans. That's the last memory you have is what we were doing at the end of the year, and you forget now this is all new again. And so it's just, again, it's just that identity that we come play hard, that we compete, that we share the basketball, we move it. We're going to be excited. I think as a coach, you're always prepared that first quarter may not look as aesthetically pleasing as you want it to just because they're so excited, and can we get them to calm down early and just relax? They'll be, like I said, excited to play in front of the home crowd and the environment. I think that's what you're looking for. If the execution, is at a high rate, then you're a little further along. If it's not, then you're like, yeah, okay, it's early. We got a little bit of work to do, but we've tried to hit home on some of the execution offensively and getting on the same page, and especially with groups that have 4 or 5 returners in it. So if we put 4 or 5 kids out there that played a year ago, there's an expectation that we're maybe not clicking on all cylinders, but we should look somewhat like a well-oiled machine. And then when we throw in the new kids, there's going to be some bumps, and that's okay.
Coach, in building the rotations, as you talked about, 8, 9, do you ever have a player that does 1 or 2 things so well that although they might not mesh in a lot of different areas, you're like, hey, we've got to get her out here because she does these things so well. We've got to kind of find that role for her?
Yeah, for sure. It can be that. Again, it's so early to know, just to tell yet. But yeah, if they have a elite skill set, we're going to find a way to get them on the floor. If you're an elite rebounder, we'll get you there because we're not a great rebounding team. If you want to guard on the ball and get tips and deflections and turnovers, then we're going to find a way to get you out there because you're going to help our basketball team. So I think there's bits and pieces of that. But again, the more well-rounded we can get where they can do all of those things, that makes it much easier for me, where we're not just maybe trading off offense, defense for possessions here and there. That's what we don't want to do if we don't have to. But if we do, I think we have options to do that.
Coach, last year, obviously, Zaya and Mosbury were here last year. Injuries kept, but there's some familiarity there with them. So I'm like, with them coming in now a year later, what were the expectations?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always to get healthy first. I mean, they're both just now and they're probably 8 to 9 month, recovery. Zaya's coming off back-to-back season-ending injuries. So, for that kid, it's just to get back on the floor and enjoy and have passion and fun and get in game shape. And, I think her mind is pretty good, and it's still just trying to get body to catch up to mind. But Zaya's been with me for a long time, so she knows all of this stuff. Shayla's been a multiple ACL kid, so she's coming back from another one that she's already gone through that process before, and she can really shoot the basketball. She would be one of our better shooters, and again, it's just her. She's just got to trust it, and so there becomes that mental component of just trusting, getting back to who you were, quit thinking about it, messing with your knee brace, whatever it may be. It's just really mentally allowing yourself to play as free as you can. And, that's a process and sometimes doesn't happen as quickly as you want, but I think they're both working really hard.
Are they both available?
They're available. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Mark, I became a little intrigued by, when looking at your schedule, at how you wound up with a regular season game with an SEC team like Texas A&M coming in here. How did that game come about?
Yeah, no, they're not really a great story. I mean, we're going to return to them a year later. We were looking for, another Power 5 school, Power 4 now, to play. We actually thought we were going to play them this last year, and then we just could never get the date worked out. So we really just ended up pushing it back a year when we had a little bit more time and to get it right and where it fit in the schedule. And I think they wanted to come here. We were going to go there last year, but this year worked a little bit better for them to come here and for us to return the following year. So, nothing more than just, two coaches getting together and figuring it out.
Have you found that to be easy, though, when you're trying to schedule a bigger school?
No, I wouldn't say easy.
Right.
I mean, there's a select few that, of course, want to play. Those are typically the top 10 teams in the country. And sometimes, I just think every year you schedule based on the team you think you will have coming back. But in this day and age, that gets pretty difficult. And in basketball, which is not like football, they schedule, 5, 10, 8 years probably, I think, ahead. Ours is, we were scheduling games for this year in August. So it can go that late. Again, that's not ideal, but you do have hopefully a pretty good idea of what type of team you will have. And so we tried to schedule it based on that. Of course, you have some of the money home games that you're trying to develop identity, and hopefully you take care of business. But, we got a scare with Wright State a year ago, and it can always happen, and then build it really from there. And so we wanted to beef it up a little bit for sure. We thought when obviously our seeding in the NCAA tournament was held against us because we didn't think that was the right spot or the right seed line for us. Some of it, the information we got back may have been like the non-conference schedule, may have hurt us a little bit. And so we needed to beef it up just a little bit. And so, we ended up, I don't know, the ideal was to get the 2 Power 4s in the same week with Pitt on a Tuesday and A&M on a Friday, but that's okay. We may end up with a Texas or somebody in that Thanksgiving tournament as well. So I think if it plays out the way we think it's supposed to, it's a good solid preseason schedule, and then get to the Big 12 into December.
And the Pitt series, is it pretty moving forward? I don't know how many.
No, this is it.
Okay.
We're not playing that anymore, I guess.
You mentioned throughout the preseason about the analytics of three-point shooting and how you needed to be better at that. So what have you seen on the court? Are you better there? Will you get to where you want to be?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're trending in that direction. I'm sure there'll be games where we don't, and there'll be games where we can really get going. But I think, depending on who we play, we can have 4 or 5 kids out there that can shoot the basketball and feel comfortable doing it and shoot it at a high clip. We want to be a little careful. I don't want to just live and die by that 3. And so I think there is, 35% of our shots come from 3 and we shoot it at a pretty good clip, maybe up to 40% of those, then I think we're in a pretty good spot. If we're taking half of our shots from 3 or more, then I don't know if that's still us. But we need probably percentage to go up a little bit, which should make the number, the amount go up as well. That's the goal.
With more size, how does that impact Kylie? Does she have more opportunities than she would last year? Can she play the 4? What does that
Yeah, no,
look like?
Kylie will probably play some more 4 than she did a year ago for sure, and less 5. And again, it depends on how we want to play, who we're playing against. Probably some. So Kylie can be the 5, but obviously she's not going to be the big banger type 5. That's not what we're going to ask her to do, but she can stretch the floor, space it, which really just gives those guards more room at the rim. I mean, that's the idea, is get rid of the biggest kid defensively and get her out on the perimeter to have to guard Blackston because of her ability to shoot the basketball and then create more space. And then I think there's times where that may not work, and so we're going to have to go with the size, and then we'll have to probably play her and Kaya or play a couple of bigs together at the 4 and the 5 if we need to, because that may be our best rebounding group, is when we go a little bit bigger and you play a CC and a Jordan Thomas or a Tirza and one of those kids, and now we've got a little more size and a little more rebounding.
Just judging by your look, I'm guessing losing the Pitt series wasn't your idea.
Correct.
Okay.
To Justin's question about schedule, a very heavy November, I think 3 in December, a little concerning. I know there's a lot going on in December with finals and holidays.
Yeah,
and
well,
things.
so our finals is a week later than 95% of the schools in the country. So that's the 2 week where you're just very, very limited in what you can do. And so we fought like heck. There was one game in there that we thought we had, one date for us that, we just kept fighting on, and that's the one in August that we were still trying to find, and we just couldn't get it to work. So yeah, we're a little light there, definitely heavy in November. It's kind of the way the calendar worked for the year. So yeah, a little disappointing, but it's the way it works. So we'll roll with it.
Well, how will you keep them sharp? I guess that's going to be the concern, right?
Yeah, I mean, practice. I think as we get going, I think we'll be okay. Obviously, the finals week too, so we'll adjust there. But then we go to Temple for that road game, and then we turn around and get ready for Colorado for Big 12. So I think we'll be. I'm not looking at it as a downside. We may need it just because of the heavy November. We may need to use some of those days off and get the legs back and get ready to roll.
You guys could have scheduled 1 or
2.
2 more. Okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So we're 29 of 31.
31. Okay.
Yeah.
So
We had 29 last year too, so
yeah,
that's
what
not
I
like.
thought, yeah. So when you get to Tuesday, will it be a feeling of finally it's here, or what's the feeling like for you?
Well, I think a little bit of both, because I'm in the feeling right now where it seems like it kind of took a while to get here, and now I'm kind of in the, hey, hang on, slow down, like give me another couple days here to get us right. So no, I think a little bit of everything. It will be it seems like it took a while, but yeah, oh man, we've worked really hard. We had the foreign trip, the whole preseason, all the practices. This group's ready. We return a lot. I'm excited to see the new kids when the lights come on to see what that looks like. So I think it'll be a little bit of everything, but no, we'll be excited. They're tired of just practicing 2. Sure. I mean, we've only played 2 against 2 teams now, twice in the last whatever. So we're ready.
Any interest at all on your part? Just you said a few weeks ago, your camps were bigger this summer. Ticket sales have gone up, and now on Tuesday you might get your first look at what that more anticipation looks like.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt there's anticipation. I hope the crowd's great, and I hope all those new season ticket holders are there for opening night. Obviously, the men will play the night before, and open it up and remind everybody there's basketball season and it's in the air, and football's on a bye week, so we'll let them take their days off and everybody can come get excited about basketball. So yeah, I think we have a great home court. We have a great opportunity to protect it, and we got a little stretch here with 4 or 5 in a row at home. So let's see if we can't start something special off.
With the volleyball court, have you guys been able to get into the Coliseum at all?
Not very much. I think we've had two practices, 1 or 2 practices in there, I think.
And that's less from last year.
That is less from a year ago. Yep.
Do you feel like that's going to impact you guys at all?
Probably not. We should still have more of a home. We'll be in there more than Towson will be, so it still should be advantage us. And some of these kids have played in there quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd like to be in there a little bit more, but that's kind of the way it works, I guess. And wasn't my decision.
Mark, you mentioned having the same starting lineup each game last year, and obviously good health was a reason for that. But since you will have more depth this year, can you see players kind of coming in and out of that starting lineup maybe a little bit more?
Yeah, I don't know that I won't adjust it just to adjust it. I don't do it a whole lot based on other teams either. I want them to have to adjust to us more than me adjust to them. But again, I think within the game, like, yes, you're going to see a lot of different lineups. We'll move Kylie around a little bit more. So, you know, she may start at the 5 and legitimately may not go back to the 5 for a whole half, you know, just depending on the way the game goes and the flow and the matchup. But, yeah, no, if you don't play well, I guess that at the same time, like, no one's guaranteed that spot. So I'm not just going to give it to anybody just because they had it a year ago or think that they, you know, deserve it. You're going to have to go earn that thing. And the beauty of what we have right now is the bench can be a little bit of a motivator because we got some options now where a year ago we didn't have nearly as many options. So, yeah, it's not pressure, but, yeah, they need to perform for sure.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.